Welcome everybody to an introduction to the Online Writing Center. I am Julie Johnson Archer. I'm the director of the Writing Center here at ACU Online. Glad to welcome you here to the Writing Center, to this online space that we're in together, and welcome to ACU Online if this is your first term. So again, feel free to use the chat feature in Zoom throughout this webinar. I'm also recording, so if you have any questions, maybe you missed something or want to go back and rewatch something, or even if you have to hop out before we're done, that's all good. You can catch the recording. We record all of our webinars, and so you can access a warehouse of webinars, including this one. So we're going to jump in, and again, I encourage questions. If I go too fast, or if you want to ask a clarifying question, let me know. So a little bit about the Writing Center. First of all, we have a page in my ACU under the academic resources, and I'll show you that here in just a moment. We have on our Writing Center page a video tutorial for how to make a Writing Center appointment to receive writing tutoring. You can locate the website you need to access and make a Writing Center appointment. And then we have a lot of writing resources that you can access as well. So really briefly, if you just catch an overview of the Writing Center, I want you to know a couple of things about our tutoring services. So we offer two types of appointments, and they're listed here. So if you are interested in receiving feedback and you're not exactly sure what that will look like, you can sign up for two different kinds of appointments. The first is what we call asynchronous or email appointments. We know you're busy. We know it can be hard to find a time to meet in your busy schedule. So this is often what works best for the most people throughout the term. Simply upload your paper to the tutor, and we will send you feedback via email within 24 hours of your appointment. So that's pretty quick turnaround. We know you are working on quick deadlines, weekly deadlines often. So this is the first option that we offer. All you have to do is submit your paper and wait to get feedback within a day. The second option is real-time, either via phone or Zoom appointments. So similar to this webinar, you would join a Zoom room, meet the tutor face-to-face, and have a conversation about your writing. So there's a Zoom link in your appointment form that you would click on if you sign up for that type. So those are the two things we offer via tutoring, or as far as our tutoring goes. And you can make 2 appointments per week. So every single week of the term, you can make 2 more appointments, and you can again make them asynchronous email or real-time phone and Zoom. And the last thing I'll mention, just as part of this overview of the Writing Center tutoring, is that Writing Center tutors will work with you at any stage of your writing. So there's often a misconception that either you have to be completely done with your paper before you turn it in to a tutor to get feedback. It has to be polished. No, in fact, if you just have a paragraph, if you just have an outline, and you would like feedback at that early stage of writing a paper, you can submit anything you have, and receive feedback to help you keep going. Oftentimes people say, it's so hard to write the introduction, and they get stuck. Sometimes getting feedback in the middle of your writing process can really help you move forward, push past what you're stuck on. If you don't even have anything written, I would say a real-time Zoom appointment would be best in that scenario. Maybe you need help understanding the assignment prompt. Maybe you want to brainstorm and plan out your paper together. That's a great option for a Zoom appointment. So I'm going to check and make sure I haven't missed any questions in the chat room. It is great to have you all here. All right, so before I move on too far, I want to just stop and show you where the Writing Center is in my ACU and what our schedule looks like so that you've at least seen it and you can feel a little bit more comfortable searching for it when you are looking for the Writing Center resources. So with my ACU, we have an online writing center page. So I'm actually going to put this in the chat room. If you would like to follow along, you can check out some of these things while we're talking through them. And if you see something and you have a question, great, ask me in the chat room. I forgot to mention as we began a little bit of housekeeping. If you do want to enable captions or even download a transcript of this webinar, here are some instructions in the chat room on how to do that here in Zoom. Just want you to know that's available to you. All right, so this is the Writing Center homepage. I highly suggest if you click on it, click this star to add it to your shortcuts here. As you can see, I've already added it to my shortcuts. If you want to do that and have easier access to the Writing Center, you can do that. You can also always search for what you're looking for here in my ACU Online Writing Center banner, other things as well. So as I mentioned, from here, you can access our webinars, our templates, writing resources. All of our resources are on this link, the Online Writing Center website. I'll show you that in just a moment. We have a video tutorial here to walk you through the process, step by step, of how to make a tutoring appointment. So when you actually get to that, maybe on your first paper, you would like to try it out. Don't feel like you have to memorize everything I'm going to show you in this evening's webinar. This will help you be familiar with the process, but we have this step-by-step guide for how to make an appointment with the Writing Center in this video. And then keep scrolling to locate the link to schedule an appointment and review more. If you want to know more about our appointment guidelines, we have those listed as well. Okay, so for those of you who have just joined us, let me share with you what we're looking at, the Writing Center's homepage in my ACU. All right, so continuing on our tour of our online spaces, let me show you the Online Writing Center's website. If you're looking for writing resources, this is the link to go to. And all right, if you're wanting that link, here it is in the chat room. This will take you actually to our webinars listings, which is under our services. But here we have all about the tutors, all about our services, and you can find our resources with lots of links and downloadable templates. So first, you can read about us. Who are we? Who are the tutors? How can I contact them? I really do suggest reading over who the tutors are. We've got an incredible team of professional tutors in this Writing Center. And so you might find someone that you have a similar interest in, similar educational background, or it's just someone you might feel excited to work with. If not, just try us all out. It's free, so you can work with different tutors and find someone who really works for you. And you might receive different feedback from different tutors, and that's normal. So read about us. If you go to the link I just shared in the chat room, this is our webinars warehouse page. And for those of you who are here live, you've already navigated to our webinar link correctly. You're here in the Zoom room. If you want to go to any Writing Center webinar, that's the same Zoom room you need to go to. So we try and make it as easy as possible to locate where our webinars are. You can find it on this page as well. You might be wondering, I've seen and heard about RSVPing for these webinars. here's the link to RSVP. Now, you do not have to RSVP to attend. I think only a handful of people RSVP'd for this particular webinar, but that's because it was early in the term and it's fine, you're all here. What RSVPing does is it allows you to get a reminder the day before a webinar happens, maybe one that you're particularly interested in attending. You'll get a reminder, and if you are unable to attend for whatever reason, you'll receive an automatic copy of the slides and the video, usually the day after the webinar is over. So that's a great benefit to RSVPing. It just gives you more access to our webinars. But again, you do not have to. Let's see, if you scroll past the current term, so you can see this fall term, we offer a number of different webinars. Some of these say virtual release. Those are asynchronous events, meaning they are not hosted live in a Zoom room like this event is right now. Instead, we will post the video here on that day. Okay, so virtual releases, just catch the video here on our website. Other webinars like Intro to APA, this coming Tuesday, the 22nd, that will be a live event, and we'll also post the video recording here. If you scroll past the current webinar schedule, you will find a warehouse with this tabbed guide. So let's see, someone here said they're a Bachelor of Psychology student. So that means their courses are going to start, or most of their courses will start with PSYO, right? So you can go to this tab if you're a psychology student and see what webinars have we got that are related to Psychology 120. Oh, we have one for Psychology 382 and more advanced courses as well. Do that for any of these. If you're an undergraduate student, you're likely in a core class. So we have dedicated webinars. Some of these are general, writing at the undergraduate level. We have a lot of general writing resources like that. Intro to APA is a good example. But if you're looking for help and you're in Core 115, you have an assignment coming up in week 1 that we have a video all about that assignment. It is really an extra resource for you to see someone talk through that assignment, give you tips, and maybe help you get started if this is your very first paper. So check out these resources that we already have. You might just mark a few of them and watch them on your own time to get a head start on upcoming assignments in your courses. Okay, I'm checking to see if I have any questions. I don't want to miss any questions in here. Okay, great. We're going to keep moving through Writing Center resources. So these webinars are another key component that we offer to you for free, in addition to our tutoring service. Another component I would like to show you are the resources. So we have a lot of different resources, APA resources being the primary one. So if you click on APA resources, the first tab is templates. So if you are interested in downloading an APA course paper template to use for any paper you need to write in APA, download that here. And here it is in the chat room as well. I'm going to show you, if we have time later on, how you might use that template, download it, and actually get started on your first paper. So I'm going to have a bit more practical support there using the template so that you've seen that template as well, and you feel comfortable at least downloading it and seeing how you might use it and how it might save you time formatting your papers in APA. So a lot of APA resources, things about plagiarism and academic integrity, and more. Also, under resources that is new that I want to highlight is this page, our multilingual and ESL resources. One of our tutors in the Writing Center is our multilingual writing specialist. Sarah Tabawada is her name. And so if you are multilingual, bilingual, English is your second or third language, right? You might have some different questions on your mind that you would like specific resources or tutoring help with. So we do have a dedicated tutor that you can go to, or you can use any of the tutors. Everyone is welcome to use any tutor, no matter your language background, your program, your level of writing. But we do have this new multilingual and ESL page, and you can see our multilingual writing specialist has added quite a few tabs here of different types of resources you might use. So check that out if that is of interest to you, along with our other resources on the writing process, structure and organization. This is for all students, no matter your background. All right, so if you have any questions about the resources we offer, the webinars we offer, or our tutoring, please let me know. Before I go back to my slides, I want to go ahead and show you the Writing Center schedule, show you what it looks like when you go to make a Writing Center appointment. Okay, so again, from my ACU, you can watch the How to Make an Appointment video, and then you can schedule an appointment. And we're actually open this week. I know it's before classes are open, but let's say you have a piece of writing that you would like to go ahead and jumpstart your term and get feedback on it. A lot of our doctoral students do this, but writers of any level can submit something and say, hey, I'm really concerned about this one particular area of my writing that I've been told needs to improve, and I just don't know how to get started. Can you help me with my transitions or with my APA citations? I'm new to this. Can you help me? We are available starting now and on throughout the term. So if you want to schedule an appointment, you'll click schedule an appointment right here, and that will take you to our schedule. Now, if you're doing this with me and you're kind of following along and you click on that link, it will take you to a registration form. So go ahead and fill that out to the best of your ability. And even if you want to start doing that now and you have any questions about that registration form, let me know. We can use this as a bit of productive time together as well and get you set up in the Writing Center system. So you'll fill out that registration form, and then from that point on, you will just go straight to this page. Now, this is an appointment search tool. Let me walk you through a couple of things. You do have access to 2 Writing Center appointments per week. Okay, so you can always make 2 more every week, and you can schedule your appointments up to 2 weeks in advance. So that's a great idea. If you know you're going to want feedback, go ahead and schedule an appointment. You don't have to submit your paper at the same time that you schedule an appointment. And that's actually a common question. So let me repeat that. You can make an appointment ahead of time without submitting anything, without submitting a paper. As long as you submit your paper before your appointment time, you're good to go. So let's just go ahead and do a quick appointment search and see what happens. So let's say you want to take an appointment right after this webinar today that'll be 8 p.m. All of the times are listed in Central Time. And if you're new, you don't know any of these tutors, so I'm just going to say any available tutor is fine. If you would like to look for our multilingual specialist or one of our other specialists based on your program, EDD or DNP, or undergraduate status, you can. But again, You can work with any tutor that's available. So I'll just leave it to any. And then the last thing you can modify, if you would like, is whether or not you want an asynchronous email appointment. Again, one that you just submit your paper for, get feedback via email within 24 hours of your appointment. Or if you want a real-time phone Zoom appointment where you meet in real time for that appointment. So I'm going to leave a lot of this as any available just because I don't have a preference for this demo. And then I'll click Find Appointments. All right, so what's going to happen is if there is a perfect match like this, that will show up first. You'll need to click Reserve and fill out the form. And that pops up. And at the bottom of that form will be a button that says Create Appointment. Make sure you get to that step because that is what does it. That does the trick. You will get a confirmation email after you successfully reserve that appointment. So make sure you go through those steps. If there's not a perfect match, let's say, 8 p.m. is no longer available with Ingrid, Dr. Ingrid Bradley, there's a close match here at 11 p.m. with Dr. J, Nicole James. And you can read a little bit about her. Some of the tutors have little bios, and you can click Reserve from there. Now, let's say there is nothing even close to what you are asking for. You can get on a waiting list here. And let's say someone else cancels their appointment, you'll get a notification that that appointment time has opened up. So you can go in and you'll have to go through this step again of reserve and save your appointment to make sure it goes to you. So it isn't automatic. If you get on the waiting list, you will get the next available appointment. You do still have to come back in and reserve it, but that's a good feature in case it's a busy time of the term and you're really hoping to get some quick feedback on a day that we're busy. So any questions so far about using this appointment search feature? Anything that is confusing or you would like clarification about, please let me know in the chat room. And we're going to go ahead and keep moving though. This has been really an overview of the Online Writing Center's tutoring, webinars, and resources. So let's go back to the slides and talk a little bit more about all of the writing resources you have access to as an ACU Online student to set yourself up for success this term. So some of these slides I'm going to move through quickly. They are intended to be usable and useful for you after this webinar. So you might download these slides from our website and use them as a reminder for the first couple of times you make an appointment. So when you are making an appointment, there are two things to remember. You want to schedule your appointment, like I just showed you. Make sure you get that confirmation email that your appointment was saved in our system. And then the second step is to submit your paper. Now, like I said, you can do these steps at different times. Let's say you schedule an appointment for a few days in advance. Let's say this coming Saturday, you would like to schedule an appointment and you schedule it for 4 p.m. this Saturday. You haven't written anything yet, but you have until 4 p.m. this Saturday to do this second step, submit your paper. You might be wondering, where do I submit it or how do I submit it? I will show you, but you're going to go into your appointment form and submit your paper. So that's a really good thing to keep in mind. Don't let hesitation about, oh, I haven't started this paper, stop you from going ahead and scheduling an appointment. And some folks even use this as sort of an external deadline or motivator to say, okay, by Saturday at 4 or whenever your appointment is, I need to have something written. So that kind of helps people who might need that extra little boost of motivation. So you can use us in that way as well. Before I talk a little bit more about tutoring, know that we have a lot of upcoming live webinars and again, virtual release webinars that are just videos we'll post throughout the term. Our next live webinar is this Thursday, and it's a short one, so you can just come for 15 minutes. Again, all of these times are listed in Central Time. This Thursday at 5 o'clock, come listen to 2 of our Writing Center tutors discuss discussion board posts. They'll go over an example discussion post in the Family Studies program, but this will apply to anyone who has to do discussion posts, which I believe is everybody in this room. No matter your course, you're going to have to write a discussion post. If you've heard me mention APA and you're like, what even is APA? This is a style of formatting papers and citing sources. If that is something new to you, almost every single ACU online program uses APA style. So this will be applicable for the entirety of your program. Come learn about APA next Tuesday. So we have webinars on presentations, essays, more live edit of dissertation and doctoral projects, if you're interested in those, and more advanced things as well. So check out the upcoming webinars. Again, you're welcome to RSVP to receive some reminders and videos in your inbox. Okay, I'm going to inundate you here. I know you probably are on information overload. Let me do a little bit more of that and give you a bunch of links. So this first link is how you RSVP. I see there's a question about that in the chat. That is where you can RSVP for reminders on webinars, upcoming webinars. Go ahead and fill that out if you're interested. You can do that while we are talking. Other links that you might go ahead and open up as we talk, you can bookmark these links, is the Writing Center homepage I showed you in my ACU. The Writing Center's webinar schedule and where to access this webinar link to get into our webinars. The multilingual and ESL resources along with our APA and other writing resources. You're going to be using the ACU Library distance learning portal for all of your research needs. So go ahead and bookmark that. And you might note that there are a couple of amazing distance librarians who are available to chat live quite often. They offer lunching with librarians Zoom sessions where you can bring questions about APA, about research, finding good sources, things like that. They're amazing. A couple of other resources you have access to. One of them is Grammarly Premium. You have access to that for free as an ACU student. So follow the instructions provided in this link, in this PDF, to go ahead and access that. Don't pay for Grammarly Premium. You can access it for free with your ACU account. That's going to allow you, it's basically like an advanced spelling and grammar check. And so you can learn more about maybe grammar patterns that you have about, oh, I seem to miss this comma all the time. It'll point out those patterns and you can start to, just on your own and through practice, get better at self-editing. Microsoft Office, again, use your ACU email to download and access all of the Office products, Word, PowerPoint, Excel, etc. And then there's also already in your list of courses, there should be an APA self-guided Canvas course. And this is not a real course with deadlines or assignments or anything. It's just a resource about APA. So check that out as well. And there's a great couple of questions. Great, let me test this link. This RSVP link is working on my end. Let me see if it's not working for you. Let me get you another link here. And then I'll also answer the other question here in just a moment. Thank you for letting me know. Great question. So RSVP, I think this is the same link actually. If it's not working for you, you can email me. And so I'll put my email here. We can work that out. That link should be working. It might ask you to sign in to your ACU Google account. If you have multiple Google accounts, that's going to be something you'll want to get used to working through. You'll have to sign in with your ACU Gmail and Google account to access certain ACU resources. So that would be my guess. Then you asked about a site I went to that had a list of course categories. Where do you find that? Yes, here is our webinar page. The last link I just added in the chat room. It's the second link on this page as well, our webinar schedule. That is where we post all of our webinar recordings, and then even webinars we've done for the past few years. We have resources, just an abundance of webinar recordings that you can access. And we have, as you saw, scroll past the current schedule and you can see the tabbed guide for webinars, for core classes, for psychology classes, for EDD classes, you name it, or for graduate writing generally, things like that you'll find on that page. Great questions. Thank you for asking them. All right, so that's been a lot of information. And again, if you think of something else, let me know. We're going to talk for the rest of this time about these two things. First, how do you get writing feedback at ACU? And we'll kickstart your first assignment, or at least I'll show you how you might do that. If there is a little bit of anxiety, you're not alone. Often, people might be coming back to school. This will be your first academic paper in years, maybe ever. No matter what you're coming to the page with, we have resources to help you get started. So we'll talk more about that and go through some possible tools and ways to get started. So in addition to the Writing Center, there are other ways to get writing feedback. I'm going to go over those briefly. Starting with the Writing Center though, it's completely free. You can work with us through email or Zoom tutoring. And just so you know, you can make appointments, again, 2 appointments per week. We are available throughout the week. We are available throughout the weekend. And we do our best to provide a variety of times in the mornings, afternoons, evenings, even late at night, to accommodate all of your different busy schedules. So if you think, oh my goodness, I'm never going to find a time, know that we have asynchronous appointments for you to just submit your paper, and we're available on all times and days of the week and weekend. And if you are working with a Writing Center tutor, you can rest assured that you're working with writing professionals who have graduate and doctoral degrees. They're trained in APA style. We are also experienced with ACU's specific programs and expectations and the different types of assignments you're going to be working on. In addition, I want to mention again, our multilingual writing specialist can offer tutoring in Spanish. So if you feel most comfortable talking or speaking in Spanish, you have that option. I know there are also some Spanish courses. So if you're writing in Spanish, she's your go-to. So again, I'm going to go through these slides quickly. This is meant to be a resource to you. These slides can be downloaded again from our webinars page, the same link I just put in the chat room. I will be posting those. Check back tomorrow to download these slides. If you are wondering, how do I even get to the Writing Center? There's a number of ways. We have that homepage in my ACU. You can also access the Writing Center from Canvas. So on the left-hand course navigation menu, in any course, just pull open Canvas where your courses are. You'll see an online Writing Center link. It'll take you to that homepage in my ACU. You can schedule a couple of appointments per week. You can schedule them up to 2 weeks in advance. As I showed you, this is new, so I wanted to make sure I highlighted. If you are looking for the Writing Center in my ACU, you can star any page in addition to the Writing Center or other pages to add it to your shortcuts. Okay, so that's a good note to remember. And yes, you can get a copy of this webinar. Go to the Writing Center's webpage that I linked, the last chat I sent, the last link. And this is where you'll go to find video recordings and slides. So I'll post those. And actually, if you did not RSVP already for this webinar, go ahead and add your email. Either go to the RSVP link, again, this link. If it works for you, great. You can RSVP for even tonight's webinar and I will grab your email from that list. Or if that link is not working for you, you can type your ACU email address into the chat room. If you want, you can also click on where it says everyone and just send your email to me directly if you prefer. But I will just grab all of the emails if you want to put yours in the chat room, and I'll make sure you get a copy of this webinar, the video and the slides. Okay, so put your email in the chat room or RSVP for this webinar in addition to any others that you're interested in. Great. All right, so when it comes to making your Writing Center appointment, again, here are reminders about using the appointment search tool that I showed you. There is an alternate option, and students who have been around a while often prefer the calendar display to see all the available appointments. So the appointment search tool is great for really quickly finding something that matches your preferences. But if you prefer to just kind of see what are all the options in the next week or two, you can go to the calendar display, and that's an option on the appointment search at the bottom of the appointment search page. So you could check that out. Both are available to you. Okay, this is what the appointment search tool looks like. Once you have created an appointment, this side, the right side of the screen says today's appointments. That is where you will see any appointments that you have created, the upcoming appointments, and you can easily click on them to edit your appointment form. That's again where you'll submit your paper. So it's really easy to find. Again, this is what comes up when you search for an appointment. Perfect matches will show up first, or close matches will show up next. This is the appointment form that will pop up when you click on reserve. So I didn't show you this yet. This will have different information for you. Note that you will have access to the tutor's email address. So if you ever have any questions, maybe you need help submitting your paper, you could even email your paper directly to your tutor to ensure they receive it, or any follow-up questions you might have. So the information that comes up first is actually the links you will use to submit your paper. Like I said, you have 2 appointments per week, and so that is why we have 2 submission links, and these are updated weekly. So if it's a very first appointment in a week, you'll just click on this first link, submission 1, and you'll submit your paper there. It will take you to Canvas, and it'll look very much like how you submit papers for your actual courses. So over time, it should feel pretty natural to submit your papers there. But again, you can scroll past the submission links. If you are not ready, just scroll past it to the rest of the appointment form and fill that out. You don't have to submit your paper at the same time. You can always go back into this form and submit your paper before your appointment. So let me go through a couple of things here that are really important. This first one is one of the most important. When you fill out an appointment, we need to know what is it you're working on. So you're going to be working on some sort of assignment, most likely, and what we need you to do is go to that assignment in Canvas and copy and paste the URL into this text box. So let me show you an example. Let's say you are working on an assignment. This is an assignment from the Core 115 course. It's your week 1 paper, and this is the URL. So we just need to copy it and go back to our appointment form, paste it right here in this text box. What that does is it allows your tutor to see, okay, I know you're working on this assignment. I can see that the professor expects you to answer these questions, and I can even see the rubric to know how you're going to be scored. That will inform the tutor's feedback and say, hey, it looks like you're missing the mark here, or you might need to go back and reread this question in the prompt. You might have misunderstood it, or maybe you can add more detail here. So that's important. The other parts of this appointment form, the more details, the better. We will tailor our feedback to you. So if you have something in mind, you would like feedback, I really need help with my introduction and conclusion paragraphs, or my professor says I really need to work on synthesis. I don't know what that means. Can you help me? Let us know, and we will give you resources and answer questions in our feedback. So you'll go over, tell us more things. The second to last thing here I'll mention is we sometimes provide video feedback on student papers in asynchronous appointments. So if you submit your paper, we might record a video and send that feedback in addition to the comments we post on your paper. And if that's fine, great. If you do not want video feedback, you can let us know right there. All right, so create appointment. That is the most important button you need to click, and it will send you a confirmation email. And that is how you save the appointment. Let me check to make sure I'm not missing any questions here. Great, I've got your email addresses if you have sent them to me. Thank you. So you might be wondering, okay, things happen, something will come up, I just know it, and I'll need to cancel. You can cancel any Writing Center appointment up to 30 minutes before the appointment rolls around. If you forget to cancel, it happens, but what happens if you miss an appointment? Essentially, to miss an appointment, that means you didn't submit a paper by the time of your appointment. Or if it's a Zoom appointment, you didn't show up for the appointment. You're allowed to miss twice per term. On the third time you miss, you'll lose access to the tutoring, to our tutoring for the rest of that term, and it'll reset the next term. So, if something really bad happens or comes up, we're happy to work with you and make sure you have access to tutoring. And just, if you can, cancel up to 30 minutes before your appointment to avoid losing access like that. So I've got a great question about asking, after you confirm your appointment, how do you go back and add your paper later? Great question. So once you confirm an appointment, you'll go back to the Writing Center schedule, and that appointment will then show up under today's appointments or future appointments is likely what it will say here. And from there, you can click on the appointment itself and it'll open up, again, this form, just the same thing you filled out. You'll have access to these submission links. You can edit the form if you want to add more details about the things now you've started. Now I know I really need help with this part of the paper. You can edit that form and it'll allow you to save that. All right, so one best practice, you can submit your paper anytime before your appointment. If you sign up for a Zoom appointment, one best practice is to try to submit your paper maybe an hour before the appointment time. That'll allow your tutor to take a quick look before the appointment and make even better use of the time. If that's not possible, it's okay. And even, again, you might show up with nothing written to a Zoom appointment and get started with the tutor. So a couple of expectations to be aware of. So if you ask for feedback on a specific part of your paper, we will honor your requests. We'll answer your questions. So let us know. So the more specific you are, the better. Please know that Writing Center tutors are not the same thing as editors. If you were here on our previous webinar, we talked a little bit about the difference between an editor and a writing coach or tutor. So we aren't going to make sure your whole paper is perfect. Instead, we're focused on you as a writer. What are patterns in your writing that we can see and we can help you improve? What are some of the goals you might have as a writer to become more scholarly, more ready for college or graduate writing in a certain field of education or nursing, whatever your field is? Those are the things that we work on with you. So just know that's our goal. Great question. If you need to cancel an appointment, you'll pull open your appointment form, just like you do when you're going to submit your paper or edit your appointment form. You can go in, scroll to the bottom of the form, and there's an option for you to cancel it. So all of that information is also in our How to Make an Appointment video. So that's a short version of this long webinar. And that's intended to answer some of those questions about how and where do I upload a paper and how do I cancel. Those sorts of questions are answered in that How to Make an Appointment video as well. So again, you don't have to memorize everything here tonight. You can always submit a partial draft. It does not have to be complete finished paper that you submit. You can make appointments in advance and up to 2 weeks in advance, and that's really helpful if you need an external deadline or if you want to save your place, especially as we get closer to finals week. We have quite a bit of availability, so this should not be an issue, but we might fill up on a busy week like finals week. So you might want to save an appointment in advance in that case. So use our feedback as a checklist. Expect your revisions to take time, and I know that's challenging as well, but we will give you feedback that might involve rewriting paragraph or adding sentences, and that can take a while. So just expect that from our feedback. Another place you can get feedback outside of the Writing Center is tutor.com. So if you haven't already, know that you or haven't already heard, know that you have free access to tutor.com, and they offer tutoring in writing as well as other topics and subjects like math and history and other things as well. So you can access tutor.com from Canvas as well. This is some information about how to access tutor.com the first time to make sure you're not paying for it. Again, you're using your ACU access. So come back to these slides if you are interested in following through and going ahead and logging in to tutor.com. It'll look something like this. They have options similar to the Writing Center. You might be wondering, what's the difference and why would I use tutor.com tutors versus the Writing Center? Well, one of the main benefits of tutor.com is that they have So many tutors available 24/7. So if you are really in a pinch and you need quick feedback, faster than 24 hours even, tutor.com is your best bet. The Writing Center is available. The benefit of using Writing Center tutors is that we're internal. We know ACU, we have that context that tutor.com tutors will not have necessarily. So those are some of the pros and cons, but you do have access to both. And there's a great question, how long are Writing Center Zoom appointments? All appointments in the Writing Center by default are 1 hour. So usually you would expect a Zoom appointment to go anywhere from 15 minutes, if that's all you need, to up to 1 hour, maybe 50 minutes, 45 or 50 minutes is a good bet. But all of our appointments are 1 hour in length. Information about how to access Grammarly Premium, and I gave you that link in the chat room. It'll give you an access code and how to get in there. You can use your peers in your courses to get feedback. As long as you've answered your discussion post fully and you've responded, you can start reaching out to the people in your courses. This is one of the ways, I think, to really help avoid the isolation feeling. You can say, hey, I have an idea about my paper or this research project. What do you think? And a question in the chat room is, do we have an option to submit our papers to the Writing Center and tutor.com simultaneously for more comprehensive feedback? So you can't do that with one click, but there's nothing saying you cannot submit your paper to both the Writing Center and tutor.com. Yeah, that's fine. You'll get feedback from the tutor.com tutor on their schedule, and you'll receive the feedback from the Writing Center tutor within 24 hours of your appointment. So if you want to try that and see and just go ahead and compare the type of feedback you receive, great. That's actually a great idea. I hadn't thought of that. You want to be respectful when we're asking faculty for feedback, but they are here for your success and they can give you great feedback. So some suggestions for getting good faculty feedback, if you are messaging or emailing them, are some of these things. So I'm just going to move through these slides and you can always come back to them. We've intentionally put too much in these slides so that you can come back and have more resources to look through. Now, I just want to take about 5 minutes to show you our APA template. Like I said, I want to give you a tool and a demo for how to get started. Keep in mind, if you feel anxious at all about writing, you're not alone. Some of the writing in your courses can also be pretty personal. Writing about your experiences or your strengths and weaknesses. No matter what you're writing about, it can feel pretty vulnerable to ask someone else to read it and then tear it up potentially or give you feedback, right? We in the Writing Center, speaking from the Writing Center perspective, absolutely honor the fact that it can be challenging. And so we are here for your success. Many people have found a tutor among our team to work with on a pretty regular basis and continue to get feedback from this tutor. And we can point out your successes. We are eager to see you through your journey at ACU. So just a note about that. Let me go ahead and show you the template really quick. Let's say we're actually working on this assignment I pulled up, Core 115. And if you're in that course or you're going to take that course, this is a sneak peek. And if you're not, this is going to apply to any paper you are asked to write. Your paper assignment will look something like this in Canvas. Often there's a purpose, there's some instructions. This one asks you to reflect on a moment in your life that was meaningful. And here's kind of the nitty-gritty. Part 1, describe that experience in detail in 300 to 400 words and answer the following questions. Part 2, reflect on why it was meaningful with 600 to 800 words. Answer all 3 of these bullet points. Okay, so these are not suggestions. These are things you have to answer. So if you are seeing that, go ahead and grab the meat of the instructions, copy it from Canvas, no matter what your assignment is. And I suggest the best way to get started is opening up this template. Again, this is our APA template. And you can see this is basically exactly how an APA formatted paper should look, with a title page and everything. Yes, even a title page is needed. So you can start filling in all these details, and you don't even have to know about APA to know that this is formatted, and trust that this is formatted in APA. It's really meant to save you time and get you used to the look of APA papers. Now, this is a assignment that does not require an abstract, so we'll delete that. Most course assignments will not require that. If you scan through this, you can see, okay, this is what an APA paper looks like. Now, I like to just paste in text from the assignment right into the paper, into the template. You don't have to know what you're gonna say or write to begin an outline. And that is going to be a great way to make sure you stay on track, answer all the points in the prompt, and really give you the outline without having to do much thinking or planning on your own. Most of the time, the assignments lay out the outline they expect, and that's what you need to go in and do. So you can see this, whenever you copy and paste into the template, this is an important caveat, it will not be formatted in APA. What we need to do is go to the paste options, and we can say match destination formatting. You can see, oh, that does look different. This matches the font of the paper. It looks double spaced, right? So that is one caveat. If that makes you uncomfortable, you're not alone. Let's plan to come to our Intro to APA webinar, use this template, make Writing Center appointments. You're going to work through this over time. But look at how I haven't done anything. I've just plugged in the paper assignment, and it even had bullet points already. So you could do this, you could add bullet points, or whatever makes sense to your brain and thinking process. But the last thing I'll mention here is that a great way to start writing is by mirroring the language of the questions. So one of the questions we have to answer is, what does this experience say about who you are and how you are wired? What particular longings, gifts, or passions might this experience highlight? So I might give myself a sub bullet point and say, this experience shows that I am an encourager. I am wired for supporting those around me, right? And you can see, I am answering that question directly. I'm even using some of the same language. I am wired for, from that question, how are you wired? What that does, it's a small thing, but I highly recommend it. That allows your professor to check it off and say, oh my goodness, I asked that question. I can see they answered it right away. And that's just going to help them give you a better grade and help you stay on track as well. Okay, I know we are out of time. I'm going to take just 1 or 2 more minutes, and I'll stick around a little bit if there are any other questions. But I'm going to wrap us up now with these last few slides. In addition to Intro to APA, we have other APA-related webinars coming up. So if that's something you're interested in, look for those and RSVP or plan to come. And then the last slides, I'm going to skip over them. We have a number of slides here about writing, planning, reading strategies and tips for college and graduate level writing. So look over those slides if you are interested. If you have other questions throughout the term, simple writing questions, maybe not worth a whole writing center appointment, email us at onlinewritingcenter@acu.edu. Again, schedule an appointment with us. We hope to work with you soon and use the Writing Center resources that are available to you. I hope this has been helpful. Again, I'll stick around if there are any other questions, but otherwise have a great start to your term. Thanks so much, everyone.